Hello friends, it's Grandpa Hickory in Texas. Do you remember the UFO of Stephenville? It happened in 2008. I'll never forget it as long as I live. There was a guy that he's got a little ranch out there. He had went over, going to get with his friend. They were going to have a little fire and out in the open and just sit out there and just talk and have a good time and visit. And they all were going to get together. And when he was out there, when he looked up and he said, "Do y'all see what I see?" And they looked up. Listen, this thing was a mile long. It was humongous, had 7 huge lights that were so bright you couldn't even look into them. And there were 2 F-16 fighter jets in hot pursuit of this UFO. Now, this was back in 2008, and I think the paper I tried to get, I think they called it the Empire back then. I don't know what it is now. I haven't been to Stephenville, Texas, well, since 2008. But there was quite a lot of things happening. The whole world come in on this. I mean, they were contacted from Japan, the Empire, that newspaper there. They put it in their paper. And people in Brazil were contacting them. Television crews were coming out and interviewing this man. I'm not going to give his name because I don't have his permission to do that. And but there was that reporter that listened to him and put it in the paper. She died from the Wuhan, China virus. People call it COVID, but I call it what it is. It came from the Wuhan lab that the Democrats, they fully funded the research of that biochemical weapon that everybody calls COVID. And I do believe that it was a biological agent. Remember all the Chinese going over to Italy? And they were walking around in airports that had signs that said, "I'm Chinese, hug me." Do you remember that? You remember how they spread the Chinese virus everywhere? Why did they do this? I believe it was to stop the election, to change it, so they could interfere with it. Oh, we just found 850,000 votes laying out there on the road. They were just laying there in the road. Only had one marking on each one. It was Biden. People, I'm going to tell you something. It's a shame, but I'm going to tell you about the 2008 incident in Stephenville. I don't think I'll ever forget it because I had a thing happen to me when I was a lad of a boy. I saw a UFO. It was right above me. It was hovering over the power lines, about that close to the power lines. And it was going down the power lines. When it gets to the telephone pole that sticks up like this, you know, that pole that goes across like this, and the telephone pole was right here in the middle. Well, it would go up and back down again, then up and back down again. And it never touched it, stayed about that far above it. And I'll never forget as long as I live. It was about 30 feet round. It was metallic, a silverish gray, and I could see inside it through these windows. It had windows all the way around the dome that were about 1 foot round. They were perfectly round. And what got me was those windows were riveted in. You could see the rivets all around. Well, that's man-made, people. And when I looked inside it, as it came over me, it was right above me. I looked in that thing, and when I did, I saw a locker, a gray locker, just like we had at school, that had art supplies in it. Because years later, you know, I used to see those cabinets quite a bit because I always loved art class, and I couldn't help but think, you know, these things look exactly like what was in that UFO that I saw. And I'll never forget as long as I live. But I was just wondering if any of you ever knew about the UFO in Stephenville. There was television crews and everything that interviewed that man. I think they came as far away as Japan, Brazil. I think Europe sent people over. there was quite a stir from all over the world, and it was so sad about that lady that died from that horrible Wuhan, China virus. I'll never forget it. It was really sad. I was very sad to hear about it. She was so full of life and such a wonderful person. But hey, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'm Grandpa Hickory. Have you ever had any sightings of a UFO? I've seen a lot of them. I went through Cleburne one time at night, and I saw some UFOs in Cleburne. I'll never forget it. Never forget it. They were way, way up high, but they were sitting there like this, and all of a sudden they went, and they were gone. I mean, they took off, man. And you could see them as they left. But they were way, way up high. Well, hey, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm Grandpa Hickory. See you on the next video.